Hi, I'm Jennifer Whitson, Senior Public Information Officer with the Office of Communications for the New York State DMV. And this is the Commissioner's Corner, where you'll hear about all things DMV. Thank you, Commissioner Schroeder, for joining us today and taking the time to tell New Yorkers about what's going on our roads.
Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity.
Can you tell us what it's like to be the Commissioner of the DMV?
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting opportunity for me, and I think my background suits this opportunity. I was in the private sector for 25 years, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for some major manufacturers in upstate New York. I was an elected official for 17 years, which I think is one of the reasons why I have an affinity for county clerks that we work with and the New York State Legislature that we work with. And so I've been the Commissioner of DMV and the Chair of the Governor's Traffic and Safety Committee since 2019. But I will tell you, it's an honor to work for this governor. Governor Kathy Hochul. Yeah. Many people know she's the first woman governor of the state of New York, thank God. And also it's important to note that she is only the second governor from where I come from, Buffalo, New York. But the most important thing I like to tell people is that she is the only governor in New York State history who actually has run a DMV. So that means this conversation we're having today, she gets us. She understands what we're talking about to New Yorkers. And so I'm proud of her achievement, and we're gonna keep working hard here at DMV.
Now, as you know, we're Western New Yorkers, so we know a thing or two about, winter weather and driving. And there's plenty of hazards out there. However, you've been up and down these roads a few more times than me. Can you tell us a couple stories about you driving in this weather?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I was thinking about this, and the first real experience that I had was I was in college, and I would center this in, make sure you pay attention to driving bans. When law enforcement and the officials, county officials or city officials, when they tell you there's a driving ban, there's a driving ban. So don't drive. And so when I was in college and I was living at home and I was working for St. Mary's School for the Deaf in Buffalo. And St. Mary's School for the Deaf is about 12 miles away from my house. And the one thing I knew is that the kids are from all over central and western New York who dorm at St. Mary's School for the Deaf. And the Sisters of St. Joseph, they were there all alone with all of these kids. So I figured out a way to get from South Buffalo to North Buffalo. And I did it by adhering to the driving ban. I did not drive. But I was begging for rides if I saw a police car or a firefighter, or if I saw a snowmobile, I'd say, hey, can you give me a lift up the road? And I appeared at St. Mary's School for the Deaf, and the sisters were so surprised to see me. How did you get here? I said, what do you think I did, fly? And they laughed, but I was there. I had to stay overnight for several days. The other experience that I had is what we call, and you know this, it's called Snowvember. And so it was a gigantic snowfall in 2014. I was the Buffalo City Controller. It was on a Tuesday, and it's payroll day. And the Controller's office does the payroll for the entire workforce. So I felt like I had to get there. And when I got to the office, it took me, it's 4 miles. It took me like 3 hours.
Wow.
It was complete whiteouts everywhere. And when I arrived, the Deputy Controller said to me, Mark, there's really no reason for you to come here. On my front lawn in North Buffalo, I could see green grass. In South Buffalo, because of the lake effect snow, I had 8 feet of snow in my neighborhood. So these are some things that happen. Sherelle Seif, who worked here at DMV, her and I came from Buffalo to Albany one Sunday, beautiful Sunday afternoon that started out. We left Buffalo about 1 o'clock. Normally we would get here 4 hours later.
Yeah.
We arrived in Albany at about 10 o'clock at night. We were going about 15 miles an hour on the New York State Thruway because it was just snowstorms and blizzards everywhere. So this is what happens. But the most important thing is always be prepared for this.
Exactly.
Right? New York, be prepared for this.
And the DMV and the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee has provided tons of information for motorists to be safe. Can you elaborate on some of those tips for drivers?
Yeah, the first thing for those who remember, being a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, the one thing your Scout mother or Scout father would always say is be prepared. Be prepared. And so you need to really think about it. So if you're taking a trip and in this day and age now with the meteorologist and all this information, know when you're going to get hit. So if you have to go somewhere, try not to, but if you have to, make sure your tires are right. Make sure you have adequate windshield wipers or winter blades and fluid. Make sure you have a full gas tank. And also, I think it's important also before you go out, make sure you warm the car up. Make sure you get all the ice off the front windshield, and then this way you're better for moving forward. But also know that you could be hitting worse weather than in your own driveway, right? And so I think the other thing that the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee always try to do is they try to persuade people, take a look at our website, take a look at the GTSC website, and they're going to give you more information than I'm about to give you right now. You need to make sure you have a snow shovel in that back trunk. Make sure you have blankets, water. If you're on medication, make sure that you have your medication in your purse or in your briefcase, just in case. Several years ago, there was a tremendous storm in Buffalo. My sister-in-law was a Buffalo school teacher, and she got stuck on the thruway 20 hours. For 20 hours. And so there are a lot of sad stories of what happens when that occurs. But if you try to be prepared, it makes it easier for you and for your family.
Exactly. And unfortunately, we just saw that, a couple, this past holiday weekend in Western New York as well. Now,
I want to mention that to you. It was amazing. So we had a lot of snow.
Yeah.
And the Buffalo Bills played.
Yes.
And the Buffalo Bills won. And one of the very first things the coach did, Sean McDermott, very first thing he did, he thanked the governor by name.
Yes.
He said, I want to thank Governor Kathy Hochul.
Yes.
Kathy Hochul was working with Mark Poloncarz, the county executive, and working with Chris Scanlon, the mayor. But this is important, communication, and making sure, because this public safety is one of the most important things we can offer New Yorkers.
Yes.
And it was, the Bills won, and it was a safe night, and everybody went to the game and got home from the game, and it was perfect.
It was an amazing end to a great holiday weekend. Now, the Highway Traffic Safety Administration also suggests some tips. Could you recommend a couple of those for drivers as well?
Yeah. So I think what they're really looking for here is to make sure that you're prepared, and also the number one thing that they offer is their website, their information page, because all the things that I've mentioned are things that are really lined up on the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee. They also have all the statistics. They know exactly what has happened nationwide.
Right.
And so a lot of times we learn lessons from other situations, and that is the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee, which is national and really international. And so every state in the United States of America participates in information gathering, and so I think it's an important thing for New Yorkers to know.
So, Commissioner, we talked about what you need to do before you get on the road, but once you're on the road, what are the things that you need to consider?
Yeah, so you need to be extremely aware of other drivers. And also, there's other things going on, right? Maybe there's an ambulance coming up the major road. Maybe there's snow plows who are trying to do their work. So you need to be very aware. Also, if you're really operating a vehicle in the daytime, morning and daytime, and if the school buses are out there, you really need to make sure you're watching and you're paying attention. Turn the radio off.
Right.
Make sure you're just paying attention to everything that's going on. You may not know what the speed limit is, but you should instinctively know to slow it down,
Yes.
and to make sure that you're not a burden to others.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you for these great tips. That concludes the first episode of the Commissioner's Corner, where we drive you forward.